Okay, I'm going to try and make some of these shapes now shiny, glossy, by adding reflections. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to take into account all the rules we've learned about reflections, which means I find the ground surface here, come down, find the ground surface here, I go down and I see that this shape will become that shape. Right, ground surface down that way. So I'm drawing through the shape and I'm seeing that how the reflection's going to form. Okay, normally, of course, if this is this handle is grey, this should be quite dark, of course, because it's in shadow. Here, then the reflection. So imagine this shape is red. So I'll just color it. This is Carmen red, nice dark, rich red. Okay, so this shape here on the surface is going to reflect, and that will make this also look glossy. Okay, then if I put a little bit of a chalk gradient on the top, that should even help it more, getting that shiny effect. So the reflection is in the color of the surface, not in the color of the thing it's reflecting. We can do that again on this surface, and it will look, and this is more simple. Okay, you go straight down, this will come straight down here, and then again, if this has a color, I'll give this firstly a shadow side, so we can blue. Time. Give the edges just a little bit of hint of colour, and then your reflection as well. Which usually could be enough, but then again, a chalk gradient always helps. Gradients are great for getting surfaces to look a little bit shiny. So what you can also do is rub it off at the back so you get a more of a gradient. Add a little bit on the front. And then of course you can always rub off edges and things, so to get a little bit of a highlight on this edge, I might do this, and you get those sharp white lines. Okay, tone, you want to try and push it as much as possible, so if you see points where you can get more of a contrast, then yeah, that's always worth doing. What you can also do is things like here. See, we've got a drop shadow here. This could also create kind of a a darker reflection. So what would happen is the reflection here in this deep but carmine colour would get actually even darker where it reflects the shadow. So I could do that here on another way of doing that. So I can see, if we're thinking about the angle of incidence, that's an important part of a reflection. So when we're looking down at these objects, you need to think about where, if there was like a billiard ball coming down here and hitting this surface, where would it bounce? And you can see this is going to bounce down in this direction. So this corner would probably be visible here. So the rule is the angle of incidence equals the angle of reflection from the surface. So yeah, keep that in mind. Okay, this is going to be the light side, so just give that some color here. And then, you know, it's really about just getting the tonal differences. So what I might try on this is just, this is facing up, so perhaps it's catching a little bit more reflected light, and I'll see how we go with just chalk. It might not be quite enough. So push the contrast here on this edge maybe, and these ones. I'm not sure if that's working, so I might even go over that again with a different red when I get it. But basically, it's just to show the idea of the shadow reflecting in the surface. Okay, so what happens here? Now I'm going to just put a little surface here, so a little brown surface that this cylinder shape is on. Okay, so how is that surface going to reflect up into this cylinder shape? Well, basically, what's going to happen is think again about the angle of incidence. So what if we're looking down on these objects? At a certain point, if we're thinking of your view, your angle of looking at this thing, it's going to hit the surface. At a certain point, it's going to be bouncing up. And so you're looking down at this, and it's going to bounce up. At a certain point, it's going to bounce down. And here, at about this surface, you can see it's kind of horizontal. So looking down, and I'm just estimating that if something was coming down and hitting here, it would bounce out that way and hit that corner about there. So it's really just an estimation, but I could estimate that the reflection would come to about here. And if this is a blue cylinder shape, I might want to make this a little bit darker here, grey and blue. So then I can continue that blue that way. And of course this is also grey shadow side. Again, that darker reflection could also come in here. It would be lower than that. So I'll go over it again with blue. Here we Okay, and then of course chalk on top, and try and get that here darker. You could even use a darker marker color for that, or a little bit more grey into the blue to get that darker and make it look like a reflection. Okay, with this one, go back to the red. Imagine this top surface has got a color, and it's reflective. So what I want to do here is I want high contrast in this cylinder shape. If these bits are just grey and this middle bit is red, then the light's coming from over here. And so this, you find the surface, then you continue it down, so down to about there, and then you can see, basically find the angle that those lines would reflect in. So if this is a reflective surface, this shape would reflect, and then the shadows would reflect. So you can still keep a bit of a highlight in your shape, in your reflection. Okay, so something like that might be the reflection for this. And then if you put some chalk on top, you give it that reflective quality. And then you can also rub off a few highlights.